The Nissan Kicks is an extremely popular compact crossover from Nissan, and we've seen plenty of them on the road. In fact, I've reviewed the previous version many years ago back home in India. And yes, for 2024, Nissan has finally made an all new version. All this while they were just releasing minor facelifts and updates, but finally we have an all new version. I can't wait to tell you more about this funky new crossover. Welcome everybody then to the 2025 Nissan Kicks SR. When you come to the design of the kicks, you can see it's very funky and completely different to the older kicks, which is a good thing. I'm not saying the previous kicks was a bad looking car, but this just looks noticeably better and more in tune with the latest Nissan design theme that they are implementing in all their cars. So you have a completely revised front end, lots of blacked out elements, which I think is exclusive to the SR variant, which is the top of the line variant for the kicks. I think it looks very good. You got lots of vent business on the grille, the big Nissan logo, and you have this beautiful DRLs integrated onto the black part of the bumper as well. You do have sleek headlights, and again, as I said, the whole blacked out element looks very nice. Again, this is a dark gray color, so the black does not stand out, but if you have a brighter color, which Nissan does offer with the kicks, you do have some very bright options like neon yellow and stuff like that. These black elements will really break the monotony. I think it would look even better. So this might not be the best color to highlight all the multiple elements the front end has. You do have lots of cladding on the bottom part of the bumper as well, because hey, it is a crossover, and in 2024 every brand that makes a crossover has to put cladding to give it that sort of SUV credential. I'm not complaining because I think it looks very funky and it definitely stands out on the road. You do have some bulges on the bonnet as well. I don't know why. It doesn't even have that big of an engine. It's not that powerful, but I get it. They want to make it look as butch, as macho as possible. So I get it. Nissan has put in lots of cool little nitpicks of design elements here to make it stand out on the road. When you come to the side is when you truly realize that this is a very compact crossover. It's the smallest car that Nissan makes right now. They don't make the Juke anymore. The Juke was smaller. So officially, this is it. This has the dual tone option. So you have the grey paint with the red roof and the red mirror. I think it looks very good. As I said, this color is a bit too dull. So the red definitely brings in a lot of excitement and breaks the monotony of the grey paint. You do have these lovely looking 19-inch wheels as well, which are dual tone wheels, which I think they look really good as well. As I said, these compact cars nowadays have 19-inch wheels. Could we have imagined something like this some years ago? You also have cladding on the doors because again, you have to give it that rough look. You do have some busy design elements on the C-pillar near the rear fender. I think that looks pretty good as well. Overall, it's very stylish, very funky, lots of design elements here and there to make sure that this Kicks stands out on the road. When you come to the rear of the Kicks, after adoring all the quirks the side profile has, you'll notice that this is still one of the best looking crossovers in its segment today. I know it's a very busy segment, but I think this looks the best. It's got lots of cool elements. So I love the blacked out elements over the whole tailgate. Love this all new LED taillights, the whole cladding element on the bottom of the bumper which protects the bumper. I think that's a very good design element. It is very beautifully integrated onto the rear fender. You do have the same grey paint element on the bottom of the bumper to give it that sort of diffuser look, which I like a lot. You have some basic badging, so you have the big Nissan badge, the Kicks badge, the SR, which is the variant of this car, and all-wheel drive. You do have a mild spoiler as well, which looks very good. The only thing I will say in every crossover review, I don't like that the wiper is sticking out. Many brands are integrating the wiper onto the spoiler, so that could have been better finished. But again, as I said, everybody does it, so it's just really nitpicking here and there. Overall, I think the design is really nice of the rear, and kudos to Nissan for really refreshing the Kicks. When you do open the tailgate to access the boot, it's not electrically powered, so you actually have to lift it up manually, and I don't remember the last time I did that. But at this price point, I can forgive that. But yes, once you do access the boot, you'll notice that it's not that small. It can take in some luggage for the family, and overall it's very standard to the size that other cars in this segment have. You can lift it up to get access to some more hidden storage, which is a very nifty idea, which I really appreciate. And yeah, overall, as I said, as a compact crossover, the Nissan Kicks looks very good and is decently practical in the boot as well. I'm now on the inside of the updated Kicks, and honestly this is the biggest change that Nissan has incorporated, and I think the Kicks needed it the most. The previous Kicks had a very plastic interior. This is everything but plasticky. Honestly, it's such a good job on the inside. It just feels so worthy of the price tag, maybe even feels more premium than what this car is sold at. You do have leather all around the dash with the red and white stitching, which is exclusive to the SR variant, which then translates onto the seat as well. You have this sort of carbon fiber soft touch material through the dash, which I really like. You do have some gloss black and this matte wood finish, which again which we found on the Rogue as well, which I really like because it looks just the right amount of premium without gathering any fingerprints, which is very essential for a daily commuter car. You do have a small traditional gear lever, which I love. I'm tired of knobs and all the stalks and everything. I really appreciate a good old-fashioned gear lever, which is present here. You do have red elements, which is again exclusive to the SR variant. You have a wireless charger, 2 Type-C ports, a start-stop button, an electronic parking brake, an auto hold, and a small drive mode toggle as well. You do have touch AC, which again I'm not a fan of because this is a single zone AC, so every time you change the temperature or the fan speed, it shows the changes on the screen. So every time you make a change, you have to put your eyes up on the screen, which can be a bit distracting when you're driving. I wish that they could have integrated a small display to tell you what temperature and the fan speed the AC is running on, because as I said, it's a single unit system, so there is no need to put 2 screens for 2 temperatures. So I think that could have been integrated there. And yes, it is a fingerprint magnet as well. You have huge cup holders inside, so I have a small cup inside and it's completely hidden out of view. That's how deep the cup holder is. I think this is one of the deeper cup holders I've seen in new cars. You have this beautiful 14-inch screen, so if I turn this on, I think it's a great screen. The resolution is very good. The touch response is decent. Having said that, I parked this car outside in -3, -4 degrees for about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and when I came back, the screen refused to work on me. And further research, because I wanted to figure out how I can fix this, some owners of this all new Kicks are also facing this problem in the Toronto area when the temperature drops. So I believe it's a software glitch where when the temperature drops to a certain level, the screen kind of freezes out, but it does come back on after 30 or 35 minutes. But definitely it's a glitch, especially for people living in colder regions in Canada. So I hope Nissan is working on a quick fix. I'm sure it is possible with an over-the-air update, so I hope this gets fixed really soon. Barring that, I think the touch response, the resolution is top-notch. Even the gauge cluster is also all digital, and the resolution and all the information is available, so I think that's a very good unit as well. You do have a 3-spoke steering wheel, which is very thin, which I like. Red stitching that matches the whole interior because of the SR variant. You have buttons for the adaptive cruise, the volume, and overall it's very nice. And yes, this is a CVT gearbox, so thankfully this does not have any paddle shifter, which always defies the logic. I've never understood why, but yes, this does not have it. So overall it's very nice. You have the seats, which are very nice, but these are manual adjustments, so even for the driver. Many cars in this price range have manual adjustment for the passenger, but this has manual adjustment for the driver as well. They could have put electric controls on this, honestly, since this is the top of the line variant. So for this price, an electric driver seat is the minimum requirement, I'd say. The seats themselves are very nice, very soft, very plush. I've not been able to find the most optimum driving position, having driving this vehicle for over a week. But yeah, for other people, I'm sure you can definitely play around and find the driving position once you actually spend some more time. You do have Bose speakers integrated onto the headrest of the car, which is definitely a unique USP that I don't think any other car in this segment has. You have a beautiful panoramic sunroof. Yes, panoramic sunroof, which is unheard of a car in this segment, which is again kudos to Nissan for including that, because that lends in so much light onto the interior. Overall, it feels very good. There's lots of leather on the door as well, and it just feels very worthy of the price tag. May I say, it feels much more expensive inside than the actual MSRP of this car. I'm now in the rear seat of the 2025 Kicks, and as you can see, space is really not an issue behind my driving position. I am 5'8" and I can easily fit behind myself. I have ample space to tuck in my feet under the seat. Knee room is really not an issue. It has been carved out, but you do have seat back pockets as well. Headroom is really not an issue as well, and I think 6-footers can fit in as well. Yes, the panoramic sunroof does definitely eat into headroom, but taller passengers can barely fit inside here. You do have big windows as well, and overall it's really not that bad place to be. You do have the dual tone seats, which are also present on the front, the red stitching with the black, which I think looks very good and is only exclusive to the SR variant. You do have a center armrest with cup holders as well, and the third passenger is welcome here. They do have a headrest and the transmission hump isn't that big. Having said that, 3 people will be a tight fit, especially 3 adults will definitely be a tight fit. And overall it's the same problem with almost every car in the segment that this car goes up against. So 3 adults, maybe shorter journeys, but 2 adults and a kid, I think that's definitely welcome inside here. Overall, as I said, it's very comfortable, and yes, you do sit higher than the driver, so you have a much clearer view of the road ahead, which is very good, and I think that helps in reducing motion sickness as well. You do have 2 Type-C ports as well, but no AC vents, no nothing, which is perfectly fine of this price bracket. Honestly, Nissan has done such a great job of the rear seat space management of the all-new Kicks. I'm now behind the wheel of the 2025 Nissan Kicks, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, produces about 141 horsepower, is mated to the famous Nissan CVT gearbox, and this particular car has all-wheel drive. So all-wheel drive is an option on the new Kicks, and this car has it. And I'm thankful. I've been driving around in some rough terrain with some snow and mud, and the all-wheel drive really does bring a lot of confidence to the driving dynamics. So let's just get to the driving part. So slot the conventional gear lever, which again I have to say I really love, into drive, and we set off. And I'm on some really rough terrain right now, and this car is running on 19-inch wheels, but the ride is really good. The suspension travel is really good, and nothing really filters into the cabin. So the combination of the comfort of the seats, the suspension, works really well. Overall, the driving dynamics on this rough road is very good. I just hit a very big patch of ice, and then now I transitioned onto smooth tarmac, and the ride becomes even better. I think it's a great tourer on the highway or even on city roads. The ride is so good. The driving position is very good, so when you can adjust your seat accordingly, and you get a very clear view of the hood, so you can easily maneuver, navigate this car in tight spaces. And it is a small car, it does have a very compact footprint, so driving in city conditions and parking in tight spaces, it's a boon. Plus this car has the 360 cameras, sensors in the front, sensors in the back. It's very easy car to live with. The steering is light, but again that translates into ease of driving, but it does not weigh up too much on the highway, which is what I wanted. I wish the steering weighed up a bit more on the highway, but again, it's just, I think this car focuses on the ease of driving more than fun. So I understand that most people do want ease, and this car is there to provide it. The engine has okay-ish pep, considering that, you know, brands are now moving to smaller turbocharged engines which produces more torque. This, if I floor it, you can hear the CVT whine, the CVT rubber band effect, and it does pick up, but it's definitely slow. And if you're on single lane roads like I am on right now, you will have to do some planning for overtaking. If you just want to cruise, it's honestly not that bad. You do have drive modes, so you can put it into eco, snow, standard, which the car starts by default, or you can put it into sport. So I've been driving in standard and eco. I did put into sport once to see how fast it actually is, and I think the 0 to 100 comes up in around 10 seconds or so, which is definitely slow by standards even in this segment, because other cars do have more power. But yeah, as I said, this car, I don't think it's about corner carving or bringing the enthusiast in you outside. It's just about relaxed driving. And as I said, for first time car owners, I think this is a great car, because you can get very easily accustomed to the road conditions, to just getting used to driving, and all the aids really help you. Honestly, It's just been a very relaxed, easy week for me in this vehicle. Fuel economy wise also, in the city I've been getting about 10 to 10.5 liters per 100, which is not the best, but considering it's a 2000cc engine, it's acceptable. On the highway you can easily get 8 to 8.5 liters per 100, which is very good. I think for highway cruising it's very decent. The all-wheel drive is an option, so you can tackle snowy, tricky conditions in this compact car. Honestly, Nissan has gotten all the core points of this car very right, and it makes a lot of sense for the first time car buyer because it's just so easy, everything is so nice, and honestly for the price point I think it's very value for money. In conclusion then, the 2025 Nissan Kicks SR. Honestly, I've been very surprised with this car. It has done everything I've asked this car to do. I think it drives decently well. It's no corner cover. It's not an enthusiast choice, but it doesn't have to be. At this price point, people just want fuss-free motoring and ease of ownership, which I think this Kicks will definitely provide. I think it looks very funky. It's one of the better looking cars on the road, extremely practical with space for the front and the rear passengers, lots of tech, all the necessary stuff that you would need in a car in 2025. The boot is decently big and it's decently efficient on the road as well. What else do you need? Honestly, I think this is a great stepping stone into car ownership for first time car owners. So if you're in the market to buy one, I think this makes a lot of sense. And yes, you would love the price as well. So this SR is $33,000 Canadian. And this very car has some options, so the dual tone paint, the panoramic sunroof and stuff like that. So then this car comes to 35,000. Add freight and PDI, then the price of this car turns out to $37,000, which I still think is great value considering what this offers in the market today. In fact, I don't remember the last time I drove a car that started with a 3 in the beginning. So I've been very pleasantly surprised. And if you are in the market to buy your first car, definitely consider this car and give it a strong consideration.